We're starting with this morning's Chok Israel. We are Chaye Sara Liyom Shishi, Chaye Sara for Friday. We are starting in the Mussar. And the Sefer Okeach is continuing again. He spoke about what it means to love Hashem. Then he spoke about, this is what I'm reviewing this week. Then he spoke about what it means to fear Hashem. Yesterday, he detailed to us what it means to be humble. He continues on the topic of having exquisite midot, and we'll see as he says, Im ya'asok ba'avodat haboreh b'midot tovot. If an individual occupies himself with fulfilling the greater service and greater rituals and helping himself in the bettering of his ways and his character traits, a person will come, based on an out of humility, he'll come to the realization and the understanding of how much he really owes HaKadosh Baruch Hu for all that he has given him. And because of this humility that it will promote the individual to feel, he will now not be so diligent and so strict on others who have wronged him. Rather, he will be mohel, he will forgive them very easily. Shneimar, v'tedaber Miriam ve'Aharon b'Moshe, ve'aish Moshe anav me'od. So we learned this week, that Moses was spoken about by his sister to his brother. And Moses heard, and Moses was humble and silent. Shemachal, as it says, Shemachal lahem miyad. He forgave them instantly. It wasn't like he was hurt and he had to think about it and had to overcome. No. Right away, he overcome that feeling of being hurt or being spoken about, and all of that is attributed to his amazing trait of humility. V'aniach hagvahut ki Aharon kohen gadol v'navi. So Aharon, he was the Kohen Gadol. We have to understand that the Kohen Gadol was the best well-dressed human being in the world. Meaning, his vestments were the most expensive. A person could not even imagine how much they were. It was, so to say, very easy for Aaron HaKohen to pride himself, to feel arrogant that he is not only that elected position, the most amazing position, and the way he would dress and how the people would be dependent on him, knowing that he was that individual. Nevertheless, look what the Torah says he did. Uchtiv veherim et hadeshen leashpil atzmo ulhasir gavhut shel godel ma'alato. He would be the one to take out the ashes. He would also be one who would help clean off the altar and clean off the ashes, right? When we would bring a sacrifice and we would burn it, there would be leftover ashes. So one might think, the ashes, what's that worth? The korban, slaughtering it, bringing it to the mizbeach, lighting it up, that's the greatest part. No. Aharon himself would be involved in cleaning and taking off the ashes himself. As we know elsewhere, we know that it is a segula for parnasa. And therefore, Aharon HaKohen, not for that reason obviously, but on another note, he made sure to be involved in every part of the service, and not saying that he was too prestigious to do a certain act in the Bet HaMikdash. Kidichtiv, there we go. V'kidichtiv vateret hamelech David mefazez umcharker lifnei Hashem. So this is another pasuk. David HaMelech, he was overcome with joy, and he was dancing in what we would seem to be in maybe not the most of honorable and respectful manners, especially for a king too. But however, since he was expressing his love and his connection to God, he put his pride away for a moment and he let himself physically express himself by dancing, no matter who was looking. So it's a very interesting concept. So a person, the one who loves Hashem, one who fears Hashem, one who's truly humble, should be one who, how do we say, takes revenge for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to the Rishaim, which is yeah?
זה דבר הכי חשוב להכניס לעולם היום.
כן.
This generation. אנשים חושבים הם יפי נפש, יש איזה משהו מול הרב, מול הקדוש ברוך הוא, אז הם כאילו יושבים בצד. נייס גאי, יושבים יפי נפש. אבל דוד המלך אומר, משנאיך השם אשנא. מה זה משנאיך השם אשנא? את מי שאתה שונא, אני גם שונא.
כן.
אם אדם נכנע ויש לו מידות השם, ילד של אבא שלו. אבא שלו אוהב מישהו, אז הוא נותן לו את הרספקט. הוא לא אוהב אותו, אז גם הוא יש לו משהו בלב אליו. אתה אוהב? לפעמים אומרים, לא, תשמע, אני שוויצרי. אני גם פה, לא פה ולא שם. תשמע, תראה, אני לא רוצה להתערב ולא זה. אנשים לפעמים נבלים, כאילו אומרים, מה פתאום אתה רודף כאילו אחרי הקנאת השם. אם אדם אוהב מישהו, כמו שהוא מקנא לאשתו, מקנא לאבא שלו, משנאיך השם אשנא. יש פה עוד נקודה שהוא אמר, והרים את הדשא. ממה אהרון הגיע? הוא מלמד אותנו איזה דרך להגיע להכנעה. איך? שאדם עושה פעולות למרות שהוא גבוה, תול גיא, אבל הוא יורד, מרים את הדשא, מוריד את עצמו, הוא לא מתבייש, הוא לוקח את הגרביץ' וזורק. עושה פעולות נמוכות. הפעולות האלה
מרימות אותו. חזק. חזק וברוך. חזק. So that's exactly the concept. The concept is as the rabbi just said, if a person's parent, lo alenu, is insulted or hurt, then how can you show face to that individual as if nothing happened? If someone came and wronged your father or your mother, something horrible, you can't act with them the way it was before. Same thing with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Someone who goes against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we can't just act the same way as a regular person with him. There has to be some type of difference. I'm not saying you need to disrespect them. You shouldn't. Maybe it depends the different levels of what the person did and how you're supposed to address them. But however, it should not be like someone who does fulfill the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, just as we said, as someone insulting one's own parent. Now continuing, ונאמר, לא גבה ליבי ולא רמו עיניי ויציל עשוק מיד עושקו. תכתיב, ויהי דוד עושה משפט ויצווה לעשות הטוב והישר ויתחבר עמהם. So he's saying a couple things. First of all, you should try to help those who have been falling and are not fulfilling the will of God. Like David HaMelech did. We should also come close to them, however, close to them, but not too close to them, as we've spoken about, the lulav and the etrog. The lulav and all three minim, the species, all represent all types of Jews. The etrog, the tzaddik, we put them together, however, we don't tie them together. We don't say we tie the etrog all together. So yitchaber imahem, get close together, but don't tie yourself to them. Get close to them in order to be a good influence, but don't tie yourself to them, because chas v'shalom, if they're on a descent, you don't want to go down with them. V'ne'emar, haver ani lechol asher yireucha v'yizaher min hara sheyesh biyado u'birshono v'yidvadeh. So a person should always love those and befriend those who fear God, and be very careful from those who are evil towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. שנאמר חטאתי יהודיך על עמידה פושעים דרכך וינקום כפי היכולת לבאר הרעים תכתיב ויעמוד פנחס ויפלל ותעצר מגפה תחשב לו לצדקה לדור ודור עד עולם. And then he brings in the example of Pinhas. Pinhas, he got up and for the sake of Hashem he killed two people. How do you know when to do it, when not to do it? That's a very, very good question.
We don't do that.
Today we don't do that. However, he says whatever a person could do to take revenge for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it depends. The greatest revenge, so to say, would be to bring the person closer to God, to inspire them and help them to start fulfilling the Torah and the mitzvot.
They had Ruach HaKodesh in those days. They knew what.
Right. Well, again, it was definitely different. Nowadays, we don't go around killing people as a revenge for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The greatest revenge, and we'll end off with this while we go into the Halacha. For example, the Holocaust and the Nazis. Lo alenu v'lo alechem, the horrible what they did to the world and specifically to the Jewish people. The greatest revenge we can do is raising our children Jewish, with the Jewish values, with Jewish education, and getting more people to be involved with such. rather than just being angry and planning how to kill people and planning how to pay them back. You want to pay them back the best way, you pay them back in a positive way. Just to mention, nowadays we know that the spiritual Holocaust is way worse, has taken more Jews than the physical Holocaust. So what we can do is we can not only strengthen our immediate family and friends, but even whatever a person can do to try to involve more people in learning Torah and more people in fulfilling mitzvot, that is the greatest revenge possible. Now that's a revenge towards Gentiles. This would be revenge towards Yehudim who go against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but it's a similar concept. Moving on to the Halacha, the Rambam says, V'chenim didek hachacham al atzmo. If a person, let's say you have a righteous man or a wise man who on himself is very diligent. He's very diligent. He speaks properly, calmly to everybody. And he mixes up with them, he mingles with them, obviously with good intentions, as we'll soon see. And he shows them nice face. He's trying to bring them in. And even in a case and a time that he is embarrassed by them, he'll never embarrass or get them back for that. He honors them, even to those who don't always honor him. He's going above the letter of the law. He's acting as an example. And he always does business honestly. He comes close to them, he mingles with them, but he doesn't prolong his stay. He goes, he mingles, he shows a little bit of interest, gives them a piece of wisdom, gives them a piece of Torah, and then he moves on. He shouldn't always be around them. Look what the Rambam says. The Rambam says a person, when they're learning Torah, ideally they should be, right, Avi? Wearing talit, wearing tefillin. And this individual goes above the letter of the law in everything that he possibly could. He's making. Listen. We said kabbalistically, there's a concept to keep on our tefillin and our tzitzit when we learn Torah, especially once we were wearing them. Again, if that does, I hate to say it, annoy or bring discomfort to the learning, it could be because you're tied up, because you can't eat anything, maybe a person has to go to the restroom. Well, for whatever reason, then we have definitely an allowance to take it off. Ideally, we have mikubalim, especially Friday morning. Friday morning is a very special morning to keep talit tefillin on, to read the parasha, Shnai Mikra v'Chatargum. But again, it's some have the custom, some don't. Now continuing, Vehu shelo yitrahek harbe. ולא ישתומם עד שימצאו הכל מקלסין אותו ואוהבים אותו ומתאהבים למעשיו, הרי זה קידש את השם ועליו הכתוב אומר ויאמר לי עבדי אתה ישראל אשר בך את פאר. So we're talking about this individual who is doing everything he really should be doing. Meaning the Rambam is telling us a person who does what he's supposed to do in a nice way, and he shows face to people who need kiruv, let's say, need to be brought back, and he's respectful, and when people insult, he doesn't insult back. He's elevating himself above the riffraff. This individual, by doing so, is being Mekadesh Shem Shamayim, he's sanctifying HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name just by being himself. Now, by being himself in such a manner is very not easy. However, he's worked on himself as he started off with. He's a Baal Midot. He's been working on his character traits, and he now is just by the actions that he's doing, even to him maybe the simple actions and his routine, he is sanctifying Kadosh Baruch Hu's name. Next, Halacha the Rambam says is Kol hame'abed shem min hashemot hakedoshim hateorim. Anyone who lo alenu erases or destroys or ruins the writing of one of Hashem's names, shenikra be'em HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that obviously HaKadosh Baruch Hu is named, loke min Torah, in the time of the temple or the time of the Sanhedrin, the individual would be warranted lashes.
Could this apply to proper disposal of shemis?
We'll speak about it. Sheharehu omer ba'avodat kochavim, as the Torah says, by the prohibition, or actually this is the commandment of what to do with idol worship, is v'ibadtem et shema min hamakom hahu. For idol worship, for anything which is heresy and against the will of God, we're commanded to ruin remove, get rid of even their name physically, every part of it. Ibatem et shemam. It didn't say exactly. It didn't say vibatem et the pesel or right. It was even very good. Even the thought, but here we're connecting it. Even the thought about it, but even the writing. So by there we need to destroy the writing of avodat kochavim, of idol worship. But for Hakadosh Baruch Hu's name, we're not allowed to because it says afterwards lo tasun ken lashem lokechem. So we have to get rid of the idol worship or anything that was not in line with Hakadosh Baruch Hu, those names, and we're not lo tasun ken lashem lokechem. You're not allowed to do so to God. It's very, very simple. V'shiv'ah. Okay, so let's read it and we'll chazak. V'shiv'ah shemot hem. There's 7 names which we are talking about, which are the common names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and each of them have a different meaning. However, any of these 7, if erased or destroyed, we are foregoing and we're actually transgressing this prohibition of not doing so for Hashem. Look at it. It says, Hashem hanichtav Yud and K and Vav and K. That's normally we refer to it as Havaya.
Name on the Furash.
Yeah, we go. Vehu Hashem and Furash. Number 1. Number 2, O hanichtav Amonai, or Kel, or Eloka, or Elokim, Shakai, and Sevakot. If you realize that when we read all the names, we did not pronounce the names. We did not pronounce the names in its completion. Rather, each one I added at the proper spot a kuf to change the name, not mentioning Hashem's name in vain. Okay.
There's one that's problematic. The one Kel.
Yeah.
Because it's in common in Hebrew. Ela chanut, ela oto.
Yeah. So again, it's all based on intention. As we know, it's all based on intention. One is allowed to, even in a bathhouse, even in a mikveh, whose friend's name is Shalom, you're allowed to say his name.
Because you're referring to him.
Because you're referring to him. You're not allowed to say hi or bye, because the reason why we say hi or bye with Hashem's name is so like we're blessing him that Hashem's name should be on you when we come. But if you're referring to a person's name, you are allowed to. For example, when we speak about the gods of the goyim, which are obviously not for real, we refer to them as Elohim Acherim, saying the word in its completion, because there's absolutely no sanctity or meaning to that word. If I would say Elokim Acherim, that means there's something special over there. There's something real, and we're just disqualifying it. No. Elohim Acherim, we're disqualifying it from beginning to end. There's nothing to it. When we refer to God's names, whenever we do it in learning, we normally and we try to not mention Hashem's name in vain, because the meaning is useless.
It's not the name.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Hazak.
Coming from respect to Lefatach.
No, we're not allowed to mention Hashem's name in vain. It's fact. You're not allowed to mention Hashem's name in vain. On the opposite, we'll end off with this, and then we'll get to the question that was about. When we teach people to pray, or we teach someone berachot, or let's say someone comes and they don't know how to read Hebrew, and let's say they need an aliyah LaTorah, or they need to make a bracha on talit, tefillin, we are allowed to, and we're supposed to even read to them the words and say Hashem's name, Baruch Ata, and then say Hashem's name. Don't say Amonai, because the person's going to repeat Amonai. You repeat A, and then Do, and then Nai. That's the way to teach it to them. So whether you're teaching even children, you say Hashem's name while you are teaching them. And obviously, as we said, of course adults. When you're teaching, you use Hashem's name. It's only when it's in vain. If it's not for the purpose of learning, or if there's no purpose towards the prayer, then we do not mention Hashem's name. Now, going back to the question, and with this we'll end, and then we'll move on to Masechet Berachot. The question of, well, what about the newspapers, and what about Gniza, and all of that stuff? The halacha is as follows: anything that has Hashem's name written out in full is in Hebrew. Is obligated to be buried.
Not English?
Even if it's, what do you mean by not English?
Because when I type an email, I go G-D.
Yeah, we do that out of respect. Is it an absolute chiyuv obligation or not? Some say yes, some say no. I personally do it also myself because I just got used to that. But those do not need gniza. It's the names of God in Hebrew, they need gniza. Also, besides for the names of God that are in Hebrew, any Torah literature does need gniza. So on that account, even English divrei Torah would need gniza. However, listen to this. This is important. Let's say you printed 100 newsletters, and in the newsletters there's divrei Torah. There are those of the opinion, I remember my Rebbe, this was his opinion, if no one read it, it could be thrown out and it doesn't need to be buried. It's very interesting because it was just printed. It doesn't give it Kiddusha. It's not like a Sefer Torah. It's not like a parchment. So therefore, only if it was read does it sanctify it. And he said, this is the leniency of sometimes you go to bookstores, obviously Jewish bookstores. And sometimes, how do you see that they put the box on the floor? Or some of them which are really, really busy, that you even see books on the floor. Nowadays they stopped doing it because it riles people up. However, according to the letter of the law, since the books were not learnt from, they're brand new, they're in the boxes, they've never been cracked open, the level of sanctity they have is not equivalent to a parchment or a scroll, or even to a book that was read from. This is a machloket, not all agree with it. Many agree that all Torah literature needs to be treated the same. However, we should know that there is an opinion that we can definitely rely on, that if it was not used yet, or read from, then it would not need gniza. However, at the end of the day, it's nice and it's proper to leave at home, whether it's in a drawer or in a section, all the gniza, whether it's sidurim that ripped up, or pages that ripped up, or divrei Torah, and then once in a while, you bring them to your gniza depot. Here, I personally collect them, and then every once in a while, we go and we have it picked up to be buried. So that's not only is it the names of Hashem, which are the most important, right? But it's even any divrei Torah. We have Baruch Hashem Rabbi Iraqi who comes and picks them up and he brings them to bury. You can bring it to me. I have a box and I keep it for there. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Chanan Baruch Hu Zagot Israel.